right, hello and good evening. We meet again on this day, the 23rd of January 2026, right here at Hope TV's Newswatch for the latest updates in the world of news. Now, tonight we have quite a lot of top stories lined up for you, including an update from the Basic Education Principal Secretary Julius Bitok, who's told parents that inasmuch as President Ruto gave that directive yesterday for students to report to school without school fees, paying school fees is a must. You want to tune in for that and many other more stories coming up tonight. But first, our sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi, and my name is Theo Macharia. Let's begin with this latest appointment by President William Ruto, where President Ruto has nominated Ida Betty Odinga, the widow of former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, as Kenya's ambassador and permanent representative to the United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP. Head of Public Service Felix Koskei on Friday said the president appointed Ida to the ambassadorial position in recognition of her lifelong service and leadership marked by courage and a sustained commitment to advancing women's education and empowerment. Now, the nomination has been forwarded to the National Assembly for consideration and approval in line with constitutional requirements governing appointments to the Foreign Service. Mama Ida's nomination comes just 2 days after President Ruto effected changes in ambassadorial appointments, reassigning Kenya's initial representative to UNEP, that is Ababu Namwamba, as the country's High Commissioner to Uganda. You will ask, who did Namwamba replace? Now, Namwamba replaced Ambassador Joash Mangi, who has served as High Commissioner to Uganda since 2024, with Mangi now being redeployed to Brussels, Belgium, where he will represent Kenya to the European Commission. And the road to 2027 general election is becoming increasingly expensive and legally complex. The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, is now warning that a multi-billion shilling funding gap could compromise the integrity of the August 10th, 2027 polls. At the heart of the dispute is a 7 billion shillings request for new technology that the Treasury is yet to fully back. Our reporter Vincent Kerosi has the latest on the brewing stalemate.
The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, is a body with a massive to-do list and a shrinking wallet. To pull off the 2027 exercise, the Commission requested a total of 61.74 billion shillings spread over 3 financial years. But the National Treasury pushed back, committing to a baseline of only 55 billion shillings. This leaves a gaping hole that the Commission says will derail civic education, voter registration, and the manning of thousands of new polling stations. Over 7 billion shillings is needed just to keep the lights on and pay staff, while another 5.7 billion shillings is owed to lawyers from past election petitions. These pending bills heavily weighing down on the Commission's relationship with suppliers and service providers heading into the next general elections. Then there is the technology issue. The IEBC wants 7 billion shillings to procure over 59,000 new KEMS kits. They argue that only 14,000 kits from 2022 are still fit for purpose. The rest, they say, are obsolete. National Treasury CS John Mbadi has in the recent past acknowledged the high cost of the Kenyan elections but insists on fiscal discipline. He has urged the Commission to embrace prudent use of the available public funds. Beyond the money, the legal clock has already run out on boundary reviews. The March 2024 deadline passed. The Supreme Court advised the Commission to seek Parliament's help, but a legislative bill is still stuck in the National Assembly.
Is it too late for the Commission to do the boundaries, or is there still a window? My answer to that is very simple. It is too late. it is too late for the IEBC to do delimitation of electoral units. The exercise of the delimitation of electoral units is one that is very resource intense. We are talking about time as a resource in the process. We are talking about money as a resource in the process, and so on and so forth.
Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi recently hinted that the only way to save 2027 elections from being nullified is a referendum held alongside the general elections to cure these constitutional gaps. According to him, the 2027 elections could be in jeopardy since the law is categorical regarding boundary delimitations.
As a country, we are staring at a massive legal crisis where the 2027 election could be nullified before it even begins. Our 2010 Constitution demands boundaries review every 8 to 12 years. Our deadline was March 6, 2024. We have passed it. We are now in a period of constitutional non-compliance. Here is the catch. You cannot have a boundary review without a valid national census.
But can a cash-strapped commission manage both a referendum and a general election? Advocate Ashuya says the IEBC is currently punching above its weight.
I highly doubt that the IEBC has the capacity to undertake both processes at the same time. If the IEBC were to undertake that otherwise very dangerous venture, would mean that one of the processes is going to be compromised. And remember, the IEBC does not have the latitude to interfere with the date that has been put there by the Constitution for it to undertake the general election. So the date of the general election is provided for in the Constitution, and the IEBC can't alter that date, because then if it alters that date, it becomes unconstitutional. And the results that shall be generated out of an unconstitutional process, of course, it becomes an unconstitutional result. My considered opinion is that if the IEBC is to undertake the process of the delimitation of electoral units, then that is a conversation that we cannot have between now and August of 2027. That is a discussion that we can only have post 2027 elections.
With 18 months to go, experts say the IEBC is effectively fighting two wars, one for its financial survival and another for its legal legitimacy. If a compromise is not reached soon, the August 2027 election date may become a legal minefield. Vincent Kirosi, Hope TV, Nairobi.
All right, thank you so much, Vincent, for that comprehensive analytical piece about the IEBC in preparations for the 2027 general elections. Now to some matters, education and grade 10. A top-performing candidate in last year's Kenya Junior Secondary Education Assessment, KJ Seah from Kakamega County, is facing an uncertain future after failing to raise fees to join secondary school as a grade 10 student. Despite scoring highly and securing admission to a national school, the bright student has been forced to return to her former primary school, where she now pleads daily for help to continue with her education. Dickens Luvanda brings us the story from Butere constituency.
A bright future now hangs in the balance for a top-performing learner from Butere constituency, Kakamega County, after poverty denied her a chance to report to secondary school. Marceline Achando scored an impressive 65 points in last year's Kenya Junior Secondary Education Assessment KJSEA exams and was placed at friend school Keve Secondary School in the neighboring Vihiga County. But instead of reporting for a first term this January, Marceline now spends her mornings seated outside the office of her former primary school head teacher, pleading for help. She says she lives with her grandmother, who is seriously ill and mentally unstable, leaving her with no one to support her education, therefore deeming her dream to become a doctor.
Nyumbani nakaa na nyanya yangu na babu yangu. Hali yetu ya maisha ni ngumu. Tunakuwa na changamoto, hata saa zingine chakula ambacho tumekula shuleni ndicho ambacho tunalala nacho hadi asubuhi tena nitakaporudi shuleni. Nilikuwa nalipiwa tu fee na head, alafu walimu wananilia vitabu hadi uniform teacher ndo alinunua. Sai nyumbani hakuna kitu yote. Nimekuja shule hapa bado kwa background, watu wameenda shule, mimi bado niko nyumbani. Sina chochote cha kwenda nacho shule. Nyumbani shangu ni mgonjwa. Mtu wa kunisaidia pia yuko, babu yangu hakuna kazi ambayo anafanya. Nakujanga shule nakaa, naona wenzangu wanapita wakienda na maboxes shule, mimi nimekaa na huzunisha.
Maslin explains that her situation forced her to return to her former school, Bukolo Primary School, where she once received support from teachers who understood her background, and she now reports to the school every morning, hoping that someone will come to her rescue.
Kila siku huwa nakuja shule saa 1:30, natoka hapa around 5:30. Niliamua kurudi hapa kwa sababu kama kunaweza kuwa na mwalimu ama mtu yote ambaye anaweza kunisaidia ili kuendelesha masomo yangu, ndio maana nilikuja hapa. Naomba kwa yule anayenitazama hata anayenisikiliza kama anaweza kunisaidia ili niendelee na masomo yangu na akajitokeza ili anipeleke shuleni.
Bukolwe Primary School head teacher Lilian Apesa says the school supported the learner throughout her primary school education by providing learning materials and guidance, with the girl's difficult family situation leaving her with no option. The head teacher has now appealed to leaders, education stakeholders and well-wishers to intervene and help the bright student join grade 10 at Kevee Girls.
Ingawaje alipata 65 point na kaitwa Kevee, naona sisi kama shule hatuwezeshwi. Sasa ni kuomba tu kama kuna yule ambaye anaweza kumsaidia huyo msichana mdogo, really disciplined, aweze kuja ili akaweze kutusaidia aende shuleni.
As the new school term progresses, Maslin's future remains uncertain, a painful reminder that many bright learners across the country continue to miss out on education, not because of poor performance, but because of poverty. President William Ruto in second day Naruho has insisted that all parents should take their grade 10 learners to school for admission, with or without school fees or school uniform.
No child should be denied an opportunity to be in class. Why? Because we have provided the resources for them to be taught. For the first time in our schools, capitation that normally gets to schools a month or two after schools open, we made sure that capitation was available in school before our students reported in class. And we provided the highest amount, 44 billion. And therefore, if we have provided money for teaching, and we pay the teachers, and we have the classrooms, there is absolutely no reason why anybody would keep our children out of school. And we have said we are going to look into this uniform issue, because uniforms are beginning to be another source of corruption. Some schools charge as high as 38,000 for uniforms. You know? And therefore, I have directed that there is no child who will be kept out of class because of uniform.
Deacon Sulvanda, Hope TV Newswatch.
All right, and Basic Education Principal Secretary Julius Bitok now says that the government's 100% transition policy and the presidential directive requiring all grade 10 learners to join senior schools do not exempt parents from paying school fees. Speaking at Moi Girls Isinya, Bitok clarified that while learners will not be barred from joining junior schools due to non-payment of fees at reporting, education is not free. The national grade 10 transition rate currently stands at 91%, but faced significant disparities across counties.
The free day secondary policy is still in place, and that for the levies and the monies that the schools are charging, the president has directed that students can be allowed to go to school as the parents look for that money. So there's no contradiction at all. So it is very clear in our minds. The president is very clear in his mind in what he said. Ours is to implement the presidential directive to the letter, that no learner should be denied a chance to join any secondary school because, or rather on account of lack of school fees. All learners must be admitted. And we are saying we are expecting 100% transition of 1.1 million learners from junior school to senior school. So far, we are at 91%, 1 million. There are 100,000 who are hiding somewhere. We want to tell them, we are coming for you. We cannot allow you to stay out of school. All learners must go to school.
Right, and now from matters education to some political banter. Wiper Patriotic Front Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka has defended Yala Member of Parliament Winnie Odinga, telling her critics to stay away from attacking her. Speaking in Kitui County, Kalonzo said that Winnie has a right to speak her mind and expressed confidence that the ODM party will side with them in the 2027 general election. Kalonzo also confirmed plans of the United Opposition to meet IEBC officials on Wednesday next week to order for the stepping down of IEBC CEO Marjan Hussein Marjan.
Kwa hivyo nasema wacheni kuchokoza mtoto wa Raila anaitwa Winnie Odinga. Si namna hiyo? Wawache kumchokoza. She has a right to speak her mind. She has a right. Every Kenyan has the right. But William Ruto has realized, he thought that Luo Nyanza was going to go his way. I want to assure him, ODM will follow the majority where Kenyans want. To do William Ruto one term. Tutaenda sisi zote as a united opposition. Tukaulizane, tuangaliane the new IEBC. Tuwaulize, do you want to go down the history of this nation as a commission guided by infamy, by that thieving mentality? The country has come a long way. They do not accept it. Therefore, Wakili has written the right of information. We want the mtu anaitwa Maria, what's her name? The CEO, Marjan, atoke mapema. He cannot be the CEO for IBC for the next election.
And Public Service Cabinet Secretary Geoffrey Ruku has dismissed former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's politics as empty, divisive, and lacking relevance. Speaking in his backyard in Mbeere North, Geoffrey Ruku said Gachagua has lost political influence and urged him to reconsider his political path, including retiring to avoid future disappointment. Ruku maintained that President William Ruto remains the quote-unquote man of the moment, enjoying public support, and further said the Kenya Kwanza administration will not be distracted from its development agenda.
Wewe kama unafikiria ndio kinara wa siasa katika mlima Kenya, ukuje na kandidati wako wa DCP pale Vrole, na usituletee mwingine. Kama chama yako iwezi pata candidate wa MCA, hiyo ni chama ya kinjinji, hiyo sio chama ya mlima. Tunataka kuona ukiwa na candidate wako Vrole na Momenji, ili tumenyane na wewe asubuhi mapema, tufukuze vile tulikufukuza hapa juzi, ili unjue ya kwamba taifa ya Kenya iko na kiongozi ambaye ako na bidii, anajituma, Mheshimiwa Rais wa Jamhuri. Hapo ndio tuko, na usinje ukafikiria unaweza anguza serikali ya mtu yoyote. Wewe Ligiji, ati wewe unasema kuna serikali ya mtu unaweza shinda. Serikali ya mtu gani? Do you know William Ruto problem ni mtu unaonanga wewe? Alikupatia kiti ya naibu wa rais, ukafikiria ni mtu mwoga. ukafikiria ni mtu hivi hivi, ukaharibu kazi yako, tukafukusa wewe, alafu sasa tunasema ni mtu unaweza shinda. Ushinde nani wewe, Ligiji wewe?
It's a season of political jabs left, right and center, and well, we still know that we're going to expect and get some more from politicians all across the political divide. And now to a disturbing story. Barely a month into the new year, cases of police brutality have crept up at a fast rate, causing growing concern among Kenyans. A number of incidents have been reported across the country, but the response has been average at best. Families have been left in distress, begging the question, will the police force ever be accountable?
Less than a month into the new year, the National Police Service has already made headlines for all the wrong reasons. The month of January has already witnessed a number of police brutality incidents, resurrecting fears that Kenyans might be facing the same predicament in the hands of the police in 2026.
Not yet. Okay, I'll give you...
The year began on the wrong foot for a family in Mombasa after 14-year-old Dennis Ringa Swale was shot dead at Tutange Swale Nguru Shopping Center on New Year's Day. A post-mortem conducted on 5th January showed that the late Dennis died from a bullet lodged from a police gun. According to eyewitnesses, Swale was among a group of people playing with fireworks before allegedly being shot by police officers who were chasing them away.
Tukio limetokea kwangu. Hao watoto wamechezea pale kwangu. Huu siku wakati huyo shughuli imeisha, hiyo apinio imeisha. Hao watoto nimeona tukio huyu jamaa kabisa kaja hapo dirishani hapa kashuti hiyo bunduki yake hapo dirishani kwangu.
He was expected to join grade 7 this year, but that was cut short abruptly. IPOA confirmed they had done investigations and the suspects were arraigned in court awaiting further investigations.
So we are happy and want to commend the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA, for moving swiftly to arrest and also arraign the killer cops in the case of Shukri Adan. These cops were arraigned at Milimani Court today, and we have confirmed that they are being held at Capitol Hill pending further investigations.
On 11th January in Mukuru Kojenga, one Shukri Ibrahim was allegedly shot dead by Sergeant Godwin Mjomba after an altercation that occurred when the car he was using to go to the mosque was involved in an accident.
Kijana yangu alikuwa anaenda mosque na kauliwa na askari.
Nani mwizi hapa?
Na yeye si mwizi. Sijawahi wana anaiba kitu wenyewe hata kitu kidogo. Mimi ni dereva anaendaga nje. Hao watu ni marafiki zake. Waseme kama nimesema uongo. Kwa hivyo kijana yangu nataka haki yake aangaliwe. Sababu kijana yangu ameuliwa na serikali.
The suspects involved were arraigned in court with the IPOA being given 14 days to conclude on investigations.
Tuko na mauchungu kama mtoto wetu anauliwa na risasi kama hii. Tuko na haki gani? Sita, na sisi sio refugee, ni wa Kenya. Huyo ni mtoto mdogo na sio mwizi. Hata askari waezi huwa mwizi, wanatulia watoto wetu wadogo. Hatuna haki. Haki itendeke.
Just last week, a video resurfaced showing uniformed police officers beating a group of young men playing pool in an entertainment joint in Nandi Hills, Nandi County, despite the men surrendering. Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja condemned the incident on Friday last week and gave the Internal Affairs Unit 3 days to conduct investigations into the matter, but no progress has been given publicly on the matter given that the period has already lapsed. This week, CCTV footage emerged showing businessman George Gadhu being shot dead by police officers at a petrol station in Karatina, and the police walked away casually. IPOA confirmed that the officer had been arrested and he was arraigned in court. These 4 incidents in the space of 18 days are just a few examples showing an alarming trend that needs to be addressed. Efforts to arrest the growing concerns have been more talk and less action.
Thank you very much, Honorable.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen on 16th while in Mombasa joined the growing list of persons promising to address police brutality while responding to the Nandi Hills incident.
The question of police brutality is an issue that we must deal with and deal with it firmly. I have professed myself in the past that I will defend police officers
who find themselves facing prosecution because of doing their work. But it's not our job to defend police officers who commit crime. And what we see from that video, prima facie, is a criminal activity.
IPOA, the National Police Service, and other relevant bodies have been criticized for being lackluster when following up these cases, and accountability seems to be elusive. As days go by, the police will be under more harsh scrutiny given the shocking start they have made this year, with the public growing even more concerned. Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Jacob Ochiro.
Great report there by our very own Jacob Ojiro. And police have filed an application at the Malindi Law Court seeking 14 more days to detain suspects linked to Kwabenzaro cult associated with controversial preacher Paul Mackenzie so as to complete investigation. Before Malindi Senior Principal Magistrate J.S. Wesonga, Prosecution Counsel Rachel Omala told the court that they wanted to consolidate the files so that Shakahola cult leader Paul Mackenzie is enjoined in the case and faces charges. The suspect's advocate, Lawrence Obonyo, however, opposed the application, stating that the suspects have been in custody for way too long. The suspects are being investigated of several crimes committed against the deceased victims, including radicalization, facilitation of terrorism acts, engaging in organized criminal activity, and murder. The magistrate said she will give her ruling on Monday next week.
I think our main issue was the continued radicalization and the continued fasting. And those are issues we demonstrated when we were seeking for this. Those are issues that we raised have not changed. The circumstances are still the same. That's why we wish that they remain in custody, as we also have the charges linked to them.
Shimolatewa is available. The judiciary has mechanism, the government has mechanism, a production order could have been issued. So it cannot be a guise to hold them longer. So we humbly pray to this Honorable Court to disallow that application so that the accused persons can stand trial. They can take plea today if possible. My lady, for any logistical reason, if they are not able to do it today, let them be granted 24 hours, then we can have them availed on Monday for plea taking. But we are objecting for them being held for any further time without trial. In the alternative, the Honorable Court can suo moto or upon our application, grant them bail and bond terms. In Kiswahili, they say mkono wa serikali ni mrefu. There's nowhere they can go that the government cannot reach them. The learned ODPP is telling you that Mr. Gona has been held together with his colleague for only 81 days. My lady, even 1 day is too long for one to be held beyond the 24 hours.
All right, still ahead tonight is an update on how 5,500 graduate interns are set to benefit from the affordable housing program. But before that, allow us to take a short commercial break. See you on the other side. Keep it Hope TV.
Get ready for an unforgettable worship experience.
Hakuja kuwa, hakutakuwa. Niwe mi, nina hitaji. Mimi nataka ushirika na wewe.
Every Sunday on Ultimate Worship.
Ainuliwe Mungu wetu.
Where we bring you live music, powerful praise, and anointed gospel ministers and bands.
Nashangilia Mwokozi.
Join every Sunday, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. with a repeat at 6 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Everywhere I go, I see you right there.
It's not just music, it's worship unleashed. It's ultimate worship.
You're too faithful to fail me.
Only on Hope TV, where you look and live.
What if your pain had a purpose? What if your past was just a beginning of a greater story?
Gotten to another level because now I could not do anything without it, and now it became like a poison. I take it today, it grounds me for 3 more days.
If I had not read the Bible, when I read the Bible, it just confirmed all the more that I had an encounter with the Lord, because I told him, Lord, why have you come to me?
From the streets to the sanctuary, from the prison yard to the pulpit, real people are sharing the power of God's transforming love. No matter where you've been, God can rewrite your story.
So I got him, I just called, and by luck, he picked up the phone. I explained everything and what I was feeling.
Wow.
He started praying in tongues immediately over the phone, and that thing, whatever it was, it stopped.
Join me, Sharon Aitore Wanganye, for Testify every Thursday at 8 p.m. as we listen through the journey of hope, healing, and redemption through the voices of people just like you.
And when you're running away from God, there's only the fire you can run.
Yeah.
I stand here as a witness that God catches up.
These aren't just stories, they are testimonies. Don't just watch, testify.
All right, welcome back and thank you so much for keeping it Hope TV. This is Hope TV's Newswatch. Let's continue with President William Ruto has today launched the Affordable Housing Internship Program, opening career paths for 5,500 young Kenyans into the building sector in over 40 professional roles, including engineering, architecture, planning, ICT, finance, environment, surveying, and construction. Speaking during a public engagement with Affordable Housing Program interns at State House, Nairobi, Ruto said the government is aggressively investing in public infrastructure to create jobs and unlock opportunities for the young citizens. Alice Diana was following that, and now she files the following report.
The government has onboarded 5,500 graduate interns under the Affordable Housing Program. The interns comprise architects, civil, mechanical, and electrical engineers, and quantity surveyors, among others. Speaking at State House, Nairobi, during an engagement with the interns, President William Ruto said this is a globally tried and tested approach to jump-starting economies and generating large-scale employment for young people, as has been demonstrated in countries like the United States, Germany, and Philippines, among many others.
Creating opportunities for employment using public infrastructure is not a new invention. You know? It is what is tested and tried globally. America, for example, in the 50s, for those of you who follow history, in the 1950s, the interstate highways that were built to get America out of recession created millions of jobs. It was intentional.
President Ruto called on the interns to use the opportunity they have been given as a stepping stone to their next level of career.
It depends on what you do with this moment. It depends on what you do with this moment. This moment, the opportunity you have to be an intern will make you either the next professional, to work in the next consulting firm, to start your own. The future is yours to decide what you do with this moment.
While revealing that the government is expected to pay the interns a small stipend, Ruto called on the consulting firms they will be working under to also add them a small stipend from their end.
And we have agreed that for the sacrifice you have shown as consulting firms, we are going to increase what we are paying you from 2% to 3%. But we are also going to give back something small. These people, these young people, we are paying them a small stipend from our side. Consider also to pay them a small stipend. Small.
Describing affordable housing as a flagship project of the Kenya Kwanza administration, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki said its impact was beginning to be felt across the country. He, however, cautioned that growth in the sector must be matched with the strict professional standards and accountability.
Going forward, we must introduce and implement consequence management for professionals who, under their watch, they make decisions, which decisions ends up having the kind of situations we had 2 months ago when we had a building, of course not part of this program, that had collapsed somewhere in this Nairobi. There must be consequences.
Under the affordable housing program, more than 500,000 Kenyans are currently working, with over 240,000 housing units under construction nationwide. Alice Diana, Hope TV Newswatch.
Thank you so much, Alice Diana, for that report. The Environment and Lands Court has ordered the national government and Nakuru County to compensate and resettle tens of victims displaced by the rising waters of Lake Naivasha. In a landmark ruling, Judge Mary Oundo directed the two arms of government to facilitate the evacuation of all residents currently affected by the flooding and the rising water levels following a successful petition that had been filed by affected victims of Kihoto Estate in Naivasha, who wanted the court to declare the crisis as a national disaster. And a certificate of urgency. The families, which include landlords and tenants, also wanted CS for Interior, his land's counterpart, and the county government of Nakuru compelled to evacuate and resettle them.
Flooding has been an issue where people have been forced to seek alternative accommodation and have been chased out of their homes. Many people have come, taken photos, overlooked the plight of our people from Kihoto, but we are saying that that should never happen again and things can never be the same again. Petition was heard. It has been established that this is a natural a phenomena that has not been brought about by people living on riparian land. The court has identified that the people living in Kihoto are not living on what is termed as riparian land. We have landowners with title deeds, people who have purchased property, people have put in their hard-earned money, constructed houses, which were washed away or are no longer inhabitable. So the question was, what should happen to these people? National government, together with the county government, it should wake up, notice that there is a problem, and find a long-lasting solution to the issue at hand.
The year 2020, the water has displaced people here. Last year it was even worse. More than 10,000 families were displaced. Yet little help came from the national government and even the county government. Apart from the relocation of the people, there is property that was damaged within Kihoto. The people we have within Kihoto have very genuine title deeds. And today, through Wakiri Wairegi here, a solution has been found.
And now, for decades, the border region between West Pokot and Turkana counties has been associated with cattle rustling, revenge attacks, and recurring food shortages. But this narrative could soon change. The national government, together with county leaders, is proposing a major irrigation project aimed at turning the conflict-prone area into a food production. Our reporter Tess Jenga tells us more.
In a region long defined by conflict and insecurity, a new vision is taking shape in West Pokot and Turkana counties, anchored on farming, food security and peace. Speaking during a public participation forum in Takwel, Cabinet Secretary for East African Community, ASALS and Regional Development, Beatrice Askul, said the government has begun consultations with local communities on the proposed multi-billion shilling Lower Takwel irrigation project. She said the irrigation scheme presents a rare opportunity to transform an area that has remained poor despite vast natural resources, including the Takwel Dam.
This area is prone to, actually, the other name for these places where we are right now is battlefield. There's a lot of killing here, there's a lot of wrestling here, there's a lot, no peace that has even chased investors. Nobody is interested in coming to these places, other than actually the big investment that is supposed to attract so much around such a fertile area. The Takwel Dam is just here, few meters from here, with the huge volume of water, but we are not using it. We need to turn this huge asset that we have here, this sleeping elephant around here, into a more productive, food secure of these two counties.
Residents have expressed support for the irrigation plan, noting that the youth turned into criminal behavior in search of daily sustenance.
Saidia sisi kuiba, unajua hapa ndio watu unasema ati watu ya Takwel ni wezi, vijana, ni maneno ya ukosefu ya chakula. Na hata kuandika watu kazi hakuna wenye watatoshana na kazi. Afadhali sisi tukue wakulima ndio tupate chakula ya kushiba, ndio watoto waende shule. Mambo ya kuhama itaishia na tutakaa na Turkana yetu pamoja. Kwa sababu tukisema tutengane na Turkana, Turkana ni jirani yetu ya milele. Hakuna mtu yenye atakuja kuishi katikati yetu. Tunataka Turkana wasibe na sisi pia tusibe na tufanye biashara.
Sisi tunawacha mambo yote ati iko wizi nini. Anasababu hiyo kitu nasababisha maneno mingi sana. Ati nasema maji ni wai. Maji ni wai. Alafu chakula ni wai. Tuko tayari kuenda kwa mashamba na tuko tayari kulisha hata ya boroni ya mstoni tunalisha wote. Tunapanda mahindi, tunapanda nyanya, tunapanda miwa, tunapanda watermelon.
Askul emphasized that no decision will be made without the consent of residents from both Turkana and West Pokot counties. Askul lamented the long-standing cycle of cattle rustling and revenge attacks that has stalled development in the region, calling on communities to embrace a new way of life focused on productive livelihoods.
Watu hapa ni heri waanze kuishi kwa amani, ni heri tuelewane kwamba Kenya ni moja, rais ni moja, nchi ni moja. Hakuna vile tutakaa hivi hiyo miaka yote kwa sababu ya kuibana ng'ombe mbuzi hapa ipelekwe msijui wapi, na mtu akishikwa anasema ati alikuwa anatafutilia watoto mboga. Mboga saa hii haitakuwa kwa mbuzi ya mwenzako kuiba, mboga itakuwa kwa shamba. It's time we start pulling things together positively.
Once implemented, the Lower Takwel irrigation project is expected to place more than 3,000 hectares under irrigation, boost food production, create jobs, and enhance climate resilience in the arid and semi-arid region. Once implemented, the Lower Takwel irrigation project is expected to place more than 3,000 hectares under irrigation, boost food production, create jobs, and enhance climate resilience in the arid and semi-arid region. Turkana County Governor Jeremiah Lomorukai welcomed the project, saying it could address both poverty and insecurity. He added that national resources such as oil and water should benefit the entire country, including host communities.
Counties are very ready to provide land because I think the key thing is about the land. Turkana people are suffering. The Pokots are suffering. Those from Samburu are suffering. Those from various parts of northern part of Kenya. It is time to say no to cattle rustling and we get to agro-pastoralism. It is time we ask the government to give us value for the livestock we are keeping. Turkana County is said to be a county that has the highest number of livestock in the country and sometimes even in Africa. But what are those, what is that livestock really giving us? Is there any difference we are making in life because of keeping the livestock.
West Pokot Governor Simon Kachapin echoed the need for peace, warning that developments cannot thrive in an insecure environment.
Tumekuwa tukikutana na mikutano mingi hapa ya insecurity, lakini leo ni historia kwa sababu tunakuja kuongea mambo ya maendeleo, mambo ya irrigation, iuswe wenyewe wakule na pia wause. Kila mara tuseme tu tunataka relief. Hapana. Hii mtakuwa na watajiri, mtakuwa na usia wengine chakula.
If fully implemented, the Lower Takwal irrigation project could transform a region once known for conflict into a zone of food production, shared prosperity, and lasting peace. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Tess Njenga.
All right, and let's stay still on matters agriculture. And rice farmers in Mwea and other major production zones have received a major boost after cooperatives confirmed that all locally produced rice delivered to government agencies has been fully taken up and paid for amid concerns over rice imports and delayed payments to farmers. Glory Nkatha filed this report.
Rice farmers in Mwea can now breathe a sigh of relief after confirmation that all locally produced rice delivered to cooperatives has been bought and fully paid for. This is after officials from the Agricultural and Food Authority, the National Cereals and Produce Board, and the Kenya National Trading Corporation toured the Mwea Rice Growers Multipurpose Cooperative Society to assess rice uptakes and payments. The cooperative says the situation marks a significant improvement compared to previous years. Carryover stock from 2025 into 2026 stands at less than 1%, down from nearly 30% of previous year.
Will be taken up by the government, and they have just confirmed that from our production of last year, the uptake has been very good. What they have is very little remaining in their stores. We are also here to look at any challenges they may have. We also continue to note that total rice production in the country has grown steadily over the years. From 2023, where it was around 120,000 metric tons, it has grown steadily. Now we stand to be at about 182,000 by the crop of 2025.
Founded in 1964, the Mwea Rice Growers Multipurpose Cooperative Society is the oldest and largest rice cooperative in Kenya, representing farmers in the Mwea irrigation scheme, which produce about. The cooperative has also dismissed claims that rice imports are hurting local farmers, noting that Mwea Bishuri occupies a premium niche market.
Farm that KNTC has already paid all what we had delivered, remaining with only the last consignment. So like this year, there is a promise that what we already have as MRGM, because the farmer has already delivered over 40,000 bags of basmati at 100 kgs. There is a promise from KNTC.
While imported non-basmati rice retails at between 80 and 100 shillings per kilogram, Mwea Bishuri sells at between 140 and 160 shillings due to its superior aroma and quality. Government data shows rice production has steadily increased over the past 3 years, with milled rice output rising from about 124,000 metric tons in 2022 to more than 169,000 metric tons in 2024.
That they are going to mop up what we have, like what they did last year, and then so that we don't delay the farmer so much. We are expecting close to 100,000 bags within the year. And this one will only be possible if we have this arrangement with the KNTC, whereby they are going to mop up what we have. Our mill, the one we have, can process the same within 2 months. So with this arrangement, I bet we are going to be able to pay the farmer.
The government has now reaffirmed the commitment to farmers, pledging that all paddy and milled rice offered for sale will be purchased with payment guaranteed within 30 days of delivery. Farmers with available rice stocks have been urged to contact the National Cereals and Produce Board of the Kenya National Trading Corporation for immediate sale. Reporting for Newswatch, my name is Glory Nkatha.
All right, great. And now it's time for us to play, and we begin with some matters. AFCON 2027. The government has announced that the 60,000-seater Atalanta International Stadium is now over 80% complete, marking a major milestone in Kenya's preparations to host the Africa Cup of Nations AFCON. Speaking after a joint inspection of the stadium and related facilities, Sports Principal Secretary Elijah Mwangi said the progress was a clear indication that the project will be completed within the set timelines. Inspection teams from the Confederation of African Football, that is CAF, are expected in the country to assess Kenya's readiness. Mwangi added that a whole-of-government approach is being adopted, with agencies handling security, transport, roads, energy, water, and ICT, working together to ensure a successful AFCON 2027.
The Pamoja AFCON is happening. We went to Morocco. We received CAF flag. That means come 2027, Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda will be hosting AFCON. And part of the infrastructure that shall be used for that purpose is this stadium, not forgetting Kasarani, Nyayo, and the other stadiums that are in progress.
All the works are on schedule, and the infrastructure, or the Raila Odinga sports complex, is substantially complete. And by just looking at what is going on around this facility, is just to pay testament to the contribution that His Excellency the President is doing through his administration in sports development in the country. This, in 40 plus years, we are doing a facility of this magnitude. And as the PS Sports has indicated, next year we will be hosting the AFCON competition. And all the infrastructure that is being put in place, both what has been done at Kasarani and what we'll be doing in the training pitches, including Nyayo, is actually up to the standards that is expected.
We need the issues of roads. That's why we have representatives from roads. We need water. That's why we have representatives from water. We need the issues of security. All those, we are working together to deliver this stadium. So be sure we will have the stadium, we will have the roads, we will have the water, we will have the energy, we will have security, we will have ICT, we will have everything else that serves this stadium, because we are delivering this as one government.
Great news there from the sports team ahead of the preparations for the AFCON 2027. And on that note, that's all the time we had for you tonight. I hope you have been adequately informed by the latest stories making headlines in the world of news. My name is Theo Macharia. On the Sign Language Interpretation Desk was Boniface Moreithi. And from the men and women behind the scenes, we say asante sana for tuning in and choosing us tonight to inform you. Enjoy your weekend. See you again on Monday. And even as you enjoy your weekend, remember, there is nothing that is too hard for the Lord. Genesis 18:14. Good night.